Hi there, Victor Pross speaking to you, anarchist artist. Okay, I am going to today I'm going to talk about property rights. Okay, there's really nothing new that I bring to the argument that has already been brought forth by intellectuals and philosophers and whatnot. So I'm really just in a position to reinstate why I find it a compelling argument that there is a case to be made for property rights. So perhaps there's really nothing new, there's no point in reinventing the wheel. The arguments have been made, and I'd like to present them here in some kind of Reader's Digest form in my own way, as to reiterate the case and from which a discussion can take place. Now, but certainly in the Lockean sense, I do subscribe to property rights, and I do not see any kind of dichotomy between what is called property rights and human rights, which I think is just another lefty way of diminishing the philosophical import that property rights has in the case that has been made for it by creating false dichotomies of so-called human rights versus property rights, as if there was some kind of opposition. Property rights is human rights, okay? And let's just, first of all, in making this argument, let me deal with some basic fundamental facts, well, which I think that we can all agree with. Okay, now, human beings, we live in the physical world. We are a living organism, and like all other living organisms, we must adapt our background to make it suitable and hospitable to us. We just can't walk around naked and not do anything. Just walking around like nomads and not taking any particular course of action. To stay alive, we must work. It's just a fact that if you were on a deserted island, it would not be a case of being exploited by the capitalist factory owner. It would be a case of where it's not a case of where if you do not work, if you do not toil, you shall not eat. What's true for there in a modern industrial civilization, it would be true on a deserted island. You have to work. You would have to learn how to fish and build shelter for yourself. And you get the point. It's in that sense we can say that unlike other living species that pretty much run by instinct and by brute force, like Woody Allen joked about that the world is an enormous restaurant, you know, with when you consider all the other life forms, you know, devouring one another, right? An enormous restaurant. But when it comes to human beings, there's not just a matter of physical exertion. Our whole means of survival depends upon the reasoning that we engage in, our reasoning mind, our abstract ability that we have. And it's not just a matter of opposable thumbs. It's our capacity to reason, and abstract is the source and means of our way of staying alive, and to translate those thoughts into the physical realm, which is productive work, and intermixed, of course, with trade with others. We do live in a division of labor society, thankfully, where we don't have to, as a single individual, where we'd pretty much have to do everything on a deserted island. We have our fellowship with our brothers, our fellow citizens, or fellow people that in a division of labor society that's based upon mutual trade and by mutual cooperation for mutual benefit. That's the source of a productive society. But it is true, though, as a fundamental metaphysical fact, that we have to translate our thoughts into actions to maintain our life. So that remains a metaphysical fact. Now, the argument goes is that because we own ourselves, in the sense that this is where the non-aggression principle comes at hand, one of the very thing that anarcho-communists purport to defend and uphold, that they're against the hierarchies and violence and coercion. and they've made claims that property is coercion. So in saying that, they're really saying, you know, boo hiss coercion. You know, they might have a different understanding of it though, but we can take it. Let's take them at their word. They're not down with coercion and physical violence, and that's in part and parcel of their opposition to the state, because it is a violent, coercive power. So let's go with that. So like, they're paying lip service to the non-aggression principle. Wonderful, fantastic. So if that is the case, then how is it that they would be opposed to the idea of self-ownership? Now, if you own yourself, that means that you own the products of your labor. And there again, they'll come up with all types of counter arguments, and they'll speak of ontology and twisted postmodernist ethical theorizing. But really, think about it though. If we concede the fact that and stand up for and espouse and advocate the non-aggression principle, that means that's ties hand in hand with self-ownership. Of course it does. The very concept of self-ownership entails the non-aggression principle. They're reciprocal and indivisible, I would say. So, if that being the case, you are responsible for your actions. Like if it becomes an ontological problem for the anarcho-communists to say that there is self-ownership, therefore we own the products of our labor, because the products of our labor is an extension of ourselves, of which we own, therefore that is the source of property rights. If they have a problem with that, how is it that they would not have a problem with accountability and responsibility for our actions? In other words, if we're driving down the street, we're drunk, we run into somebody, we hurt them, we kill them, whatever, we are responsible for the injury or death of that person. We are responsible for our actions. Would the anarcho-communists contest that? Once again, you own your actions, right? So it's just another way of saying you own your actions. So if you're held accountable for some kind of wrongdoing, or even right doing, if you do something good for somebody, a child's drowning, you save them. You don't go to the next city to some guy who's just taking first aid lessons and who wants to become a lifesaver and say, thank you for doing that. It's like, huh? What the fuck are you talking about? So no, the person who actually jumped in the lake and saved the drowning child is the one who saved the child. He's accountable and to be appreciated for his actions, which came from himself. So there's individual merit that's recognized, there's accountability and responsibility that's recognized. If you injury or harm or doing good for others or whatnot, you are the owner of those actions. So the very same thing goes for those people who sustain the land, who make some chunk of land hospitable to living, produce, the trade with others. There's no coercion whatsoever, no physical violence, just all trade and creation and thinking and translating those thoughts into actions of whatever skills that you've learned and mastered by using your mind. Whatever that is, whatever the vocation, whatever the job is, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. How is it that then, that in that sense, as the anarcho-capitalist has made very clear in defending property rights, how is this invalidated? How is it that the anarcho-communists cannot see the philosophical links of all these things that I've just put forth, that links them all together in one harmonized whole? You really got to, it's not like they don't understand the arguments though. I just think that they have a very dubious reason for countering them, and I don't think that it's one of intellectual honesty or any genuine opposition to a philosophical loophole, because there's not one anarcho-communist has ever made one that without engaging in some kind of ad homs, obfuscation, postmodernist linguistic contortions. So that's my take on it. Victor Pross, anarchist artist, pop culture.